What's up, everybody? Welcome to, I guess we can't call this the King Closers formula. That's what we normally call it. I guess today this is going to be the Queen Closers formula. How about that?
The titanium closers formula.
All right. We'll settle with that. So I feel like today's live is one of the most important lives that we've ever done because, quite frankly, when we talk about closing deals, talking to sellers is easy. We've shown you guys how to do that. We've shown you with the closers formula. We've given away the PDFs. We're getting videos now almost on a daily basis of people closing those deals. But what really differentiates us from our competition is our ability to comp and underwrite properties anywhere in the United States. And I have to give a ton of credit to my partner in crime, Miss Cassandra DeHaas, who's joining me on this beautiful Tuesday. Are you excited to talk about comping and underwriting today?
For the millionth time? No, I'm just kidding. I very much am. And I think to your point, like, you know, when you read that in the title and like when you have access to what's traditionally out there, like people just don't understand that our definition of these things is a little bit different than everybody else's. And so it's like, you know, you have to realize like a headline is a headline, but we're talking about something a little bit different here. And it's just like closing, right? Like we're talking about King Closer, but we're talking about acquisitions, right? And we've done so many examples of that. And realistically, for us to show all the layers that are behind that is not necessarily something we are able to do when you're doing like live seller calls. Like you're not able to like show that live and teach that live like while you're doing it very well. At least not anymore these days. And I think that the comping and underwriting headline is not dove into enough. Dove? Be making up words like RJ now.
The difficultiness of that word was extreme. Just saying. We haven't dove into this enough. So one of these, before we get too far into this, I want to explain what's going to happen today. Okay.
Yeah.
So Cassie and I are going to go through our process, what we were referring to as the comp formula. Okay. So we decided we had the King Closer formula. We had the Dispo formula. Let's give a comp formula. And from there, this evolved. Okay. And what we have today is we're going to give you the web formula, wherein buyers buy. That's the formula that we're going to give you today. Now, here's the thing. Okay. I need you to hang around through the entire thing. Even if you start to fall asleep because we're talking about comping and underwriting, I totally get it. It's not sexy, but it is because it's what enables you to get deals and to make money all across the country.
Don't listen to just the headline. There's a lot of sexiness in this live.
Delve. We're going to delve into it. Someone said that this is what you actually, Ro said you delved.
Delved?
We're gonna delve into this. So here's what's happening today. We're gonna go through the entire process, and at the end, we have a free, let me say it again, free gift that we're gonna give away to you. Okay? Because our mission in 2024 is to eliminate all excuses, all of them, and making money in virtual wholesaling. You should have no excuses by the end of this year. And we keep getting better and better at coming up with ways to eliminate those excuses. So you're going to have a free gift at the end for hanging around. All right. Now
it's a very valuable free gift.
It is. It's literally one of the most comprehensive free gifts we've ever come up with. Joshua, the gift is free. It's free.
It requires your attendance. It's not free, but it actually makes you money by making you attend, even if you don't open it.
Okay, we're also going to give away a free titanium profits course. Nick said that actually costs money. That costs $99. We're going to give that away for free. The reason why, Joshua, the reason why I keep saying it's free is because I'm actually shocked that we're giving away this for free. That was my best Zach Ginn impersonation. Did I do good?
I was reading the criteria for who wins.
So that being said, let's get into this. Let's get into today's topic of comping and underwriting. When we sat down and we said, okay, let's come up with this formula. And we really started trying to break this down. It was funny because we didn't sit there and say, hey, let's use this language. It just naturally happened, layers, right? We kept coming up with, well, there's this layer, and then we dive deeper, and then we get the next layer, and then we go deeper and we get the next layer, because you guys have to understand, every single formula that we give away here at Titanium has come to you guys from trial and error and years of us using this and developing it and getting better at this. And so, backstory on this, actually, how this came about. We have all of Cassie's training, okay? But when Cassie trains and like when she creates a comping module for Titanium University, I don't watch that. I don't sit down and watch, just like Cassie doesn't watch me do an acquisitions module. So we came up with this idea. We were like, all right, RJ is going to share his screen, and Cassie is going to commentate and nitpick what RJ does when he comps. And we're going to see how aligned this was. And it was hilarious because I thought for sure Cassie was going to chew me up and spit me out the other side and be like, I don't know what you're doing. But that's not what happened. It was very much aligned here. So what we're going to go through is 3 different layers today. This is how we're going to lay this out for you. So Cassie, why don't you explain what layer number 1 is?
Okay, so the first layer of your comping the property is, what you're going to do is, do you want me to go into like the details?
Well, I'm going to get prepared to share my screen. I just want you to go into the layer 1 is comping the property. That's
okay, yeah. So that's what I was making sure. So layer 1, you're going to actually comp the property, and RJ is probably going to share his screen, and then we'll go through those specific steps that we go through. You're basically looking to comp the property and determine the ARV in that regard. So you're starting from scratch there, Mr. Bates.
So I'm going to comp 1801 Morrison Drive,
which is a great example. And the first thing that he's going to do inherently, and the first thing that we always teach, is you pull up the Google map, you pull up the street view, you do at least a quick 360, you see what you can see as of the most recent drive-by, and you're figuring out what you can determine from that. A lot of times we'll stay on that layer, that first layer of it, before we do the actual street view, just to see if there's any commercial properties by it. Is it on a 4-lane road? These are things we're looking for, things that can impact the value of the property. So
one thing I want to point out here real quick, Cassie, because when it dropped me like right here.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I zoomed in to see if this said 1801.
Right.
And it was marked off, right? So the next thing I did was I zoomed in to see if I could see something that signified that this is 1801, because you guys have to understand, you have no idea what your subject property actually looks like. So when I zoomed over here to the corner, boom, I saw that this is 1801. So this is our subject property that we're looking at here.
So, and then sometimes like you'll hear us on live seller calls and we'll be like, oh, it's the one with the white brick or the black roof or whatever it might be, on the corner. You know what I mean? if we can't see those things. So yeah, those are things like we're all looking for. And that's why this is a really important step that actually a lot of people forget like to do.
Is there
Usually
anything that stands out to you about this specific one? I have one thing that stands out to me, but was there anything that you saw here that stood out?
So in this 360 view, I would say we do it very quickly when we're on the phone looking for anything that stands out. Like I said, I normally will click on that first layer and do like the satellite view as well before I even get into the street view to see if there's anything there. And I wasn't paying attention when you did that. So the only thing that sticks out to me is that the street right there, when you did the 360, it looks like it has a different style of homes. That's the only thing I'm noticing in that 360 view. And I don't talk about that right then and there. We just move on and start to comp the property.
Exactly. So for me, that's the thing that stood out. And like you said, I'm not getting stuck on it. It's just I am mentally making a note to myself. These are clearly new construction homes, probably 90s, early 2000s. This clearly looks like 60s to 80s. But as you see, neighborhood moving further down, this neighborhood is pretty consistent with the older style homes. And then I even went into the cul-de-sac here just to give myself another view. This is awesome. Very rarely will you ever get something like this where you could actually see like the backyard, the garage here, like what's happening. We've got a pretty good view of this property. And as you can see, everything is pretty consistent. So like Cassie said, for me, very quick, I'm just making a mental note. Got it.
So that, just so you guys, while he is pulling up the next steps so that you guys understand, that happens in a very quick amount of time. We're just making those mental notes. It obviously takes longer when we're explaining it out loud. And sometimes what that ends up turning into is like, we'll teach that to somebody or they'll pay attention to a live of me teaching this. And then they're super stuck and they spend a lot of time on that stuff. Whereas we tend to go through it very quickly. So we should probably just note that. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get right into our comp tool. We're nationwide virtual wholesalers. You're typically using PropStream. This is in Texas. And so that's why it is a good example on PropStream that like a lot of people think you can't get good or accurate comps on PropStream anywhere in the state of Texas because it's non-disclosure. I think you'll be able to see that we're going to get some pretty accurate stuff. When you're going through that street view, that's one of the things about that first layer where you're trying to really just understand that neighborhood visually, what it looks like, so that you understand the data better. This first layer of comping, and what RJ is doing here is he's going through and he is unselecting properties. Typically speaking, I go about this a little bit differently. And what I'll explain to you all really quickly is another thing that we love about PropStream is that the automatic filters are pretty much on point for us. Except for RJ went in there. Did you put 0.25 miles?
I did.
Because we had a lot of comp options.
Well, I'm always going to want to go in and immediately the first thing I want to do is filter down to a quarter mile to see how many comps I get inside of a quarter mile. And then once I do that, I immediately go to the square footage. And then after I go to the square footage, then I'm going to go to bed bath count and then the lot size and then the year built. So what really made a difference for me is what we noticed on the Google Street View was the year built. We see 2006. There was a 93. So I got rid of the 90s. I got rid of the early 2000s. And I kept like this one right here. Even though the square footage is a little bit higher, I'm keeping it because it's a 76 build. Again, 77 build. Kept this one 71 build. This one right here, though, we need to pay attention. This had 0 price on it. So we need to get rid of that one because that would kill our numbers.
Right. And so just so y'all know, typically speaking, I will do this a little bit differently once I understand this first layer than RJ is doing it. And this is going to be one of those preferential things. And I'm only bringing it up because I feel like this is just dependent on how you read. Okay, this is not dependent on you getting to the correct number. The first thing I'm going to do in there is I'm not going to go to 0.25 miles. I'm going to leave it at half a mile automatically. And then I just deselect every property. Okay. It's sorted by in order of distance. So if y'all are seeing any of our trainings or things like that, and that's why I teach it that way, just understand that's a navigational thing. And probably what I would have done in here, since he noticed like those build years, I would have gone into the year built and I would have put a max build year so that I then just start selecting the amount. Like, so say he said, what year was this property built, RJ?
Ours is built in 1977, so we could put like 1985 as the max year built.
I would have probably put like 1989. You know, I just tend to do it by like decades like that, but that's fine too. And then like I've deselected all of the properties. I've niched it down to the ones that I want to really look at. And then I usually will select my top 6 that I'm looking at that data. So talk to me about the numbers on that data. You said that $0 property is still in there. So I'm definitely not selecting that one. So I go in and I select the ones I want. And he goes in and deselects the ones he doesn't want, which we probably, I mean, we get to the same result every time.
The other thing to pay attention to here is the price difference between the blue and the green, right? We want to take the blue because the blue is the MLS and the green is the public records. We're going to go with the blue prices off of the MLS.
Yeah, absolutely. If there is a blue and a green, that means that they're pulling from both. We have selected both. Sometimes we want to see both. Are you seeing a lot of properties in that top 10 right there? Just because I have
right here, 1912 Morrison on the MLS sold for $375. 1912 Morrison on public records at $400,000.
Right. So it might not have been recorded properly yet. Blah 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 blah. Things like that, guys. Like, it's important to know, are you seeing anything on public record that you're going to want to keep that's not on MLS? Or like
the only one down here was 1908 Bay Oaks.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why, guys, we always select both and then just make sure the blue boxes are selected.
So the next thing that I want to do here is, obviously I'm looking for consistent data in the area to give me an idea, because imagine we're doing this while we're on the phone with a seller. Okay. So in the closer's formula, where are we at? We're now in stage 3 and 4, right? Open-ended questions, and we're analyzing the deal, right? What's step 2? We get the seller's price. So in this scenario, I have already asked the seller, how much do you want for the property? The seller has told me, I want $200,000. If the seller tells me $200,000 and I am looking at this, what I'm looking for is there consistent data that shows me that I should continue having a conversation with the seller, because this could be a potential wholesale deal? Absolutely. We see here we've got 400, 375, 345. You know, there's enough 405. There's enough here that's showing that this would be 200,000 would be a significantly discounted property. Okay. So now I am placing that seller in one of the 4 seller buckets, right? What is their motivation and what is the price? That's how we determine which bucket they're going to fall in. If you guys don't know about the 4 seller buckets, we have a video on that. You can go watch. It's literally called the 4 seller buckets. Okay. It's an hour and a half on that. All right. We're not going to get it deep into that topic today, but I'm looking for consistent data. I now understand, now that I have looked and I see consistent data in the area. I know I've got a good amount of comps here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go look at the lowest and the highest comps to then see what is the difference between those. So Cassie kind of explained what we're looking for here. I'm going to pull up, funny enough, this Bay Oaks, the public records one, is the one that is the lowest for 267. So this is our lowest comp that we've got. So let's pull this one up.
Right. So what we're looking for here is exactly what RJ was saying. We're looking for the low end of that comp, and you're assuming that that is not the most like updated, up to par. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's an as-is property for your property. Again, we're still on the phone with the seller in this process. On this one, we don't actually know in this example, does this need updating? Is it already up to date? You know, is it going to need a fresh coat of paint and maybe some new carpet? Or is it going to need this, that, or the third? But looking from the outside, you can usually determine a few things. And this is another reason why we go through that neighborhood. Just so you guys are aware for the purpose of this video, this is looking kind of outdated to me. The paint color is outdated on the exterior. That doesn't mean everything on the interior is outdated, because you also have a very non-original window looking right there at the front facing of the property. That does not look original to me. And it could just be a paint color choice, but a lot of this on the exterior is not looking super updated. So you would go back, you would try to find, usually between Realtor, Trulia, something like that.
I went through all of them, and because this is public records, this looks like this is an off-market closing. There's no pictures, so we would have to pivot pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm on the phone, I'm not getting stuck there. I agree with everything that Cassie just said. Kind of slightly outdated outside, doesn't look very updated, but we don't have any interior pictures, so I'm going to the next one, 1904. Funny enough, it's the neighbor's house, right? So 1904, we've got 29 pictures here.
Let's see what they show us. We got popcorn ceilings.
We got the old 1980s crown molding popcorn ceilings.
They're trying to make up for it.
But so this was lived in, somewhat updated. They tried in certain areas, right? This right here, they saw someone flipped a house in North Dallas and decided they would put that light fixture in Fort Worth. We don't do that here.
That's a really awkwardly sized light fixture for that location.
Imagine passing the mashed potatoes at dinner.
I cut my hand on the chandelier.
Great size primary bedroom.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Mismatched flooring, though.
Like, I still have the TV in me, Cassie.
Yeah. Pause.
Pause. Cannot say that. Primary. I mean, to be honest with you, this property is not in great shape, but it's not terrible. This is what I would say on this is a great sign for us, because this property sold for $285. Right? So now what are we going to do? That sold for $285. This sold for $405. This sold for $409. Either one, you can't go wrong with either one. I'm going to choose this one. So I always like to go to realtor.com. I feel like they hold on to their pictures longer than Zillow and Redfin.
Almost everywhere, but if Realtor doesn't have them, I can usually find them on Trulia if they were on.
All right, so look at the difference. Scrape ceilings, one vacant, okay? This fresh paint, scrape ceilings, new flooring. This feels like an investor came in and fix this one up. Would you not agree?
I agree.
Look at that.
I always like to look at the light fixtures and door handles.
That right there, that ceiling fan, that ceiling fan is what every house flipper in America uses.
$167.99 at Home Depot.
Granite countertops, kept the cabinets, just updated the hardware, right?
Shower surround, not so much.
The other thing that stands out here is if you're dealing with a house that's built in the 70s, if every light fixture is the same, you can tell this was remodeled, right?
Not only that, but I want to point out a thing that most people wouldn't notice that Cassie notices every time. Actually, I want to give RJ a second to guess what that thing is.
Which picture is it?
Any of them so far.
Well, the one thing that stood out to me right here is how do you shut the door? Because there's no hardware. That is a clear sign that this is a house flipper.
Okay, first and foremost, those are dummy knobs, so the knobs are on the other side. But you're very close. Those are French doors.
You need knobs on this side too. How do you pull it shut?
You just grab it from the other side.
How do you pull it?
French doors. They're dummy knobs.
How do you pull it shut?
I don't know.
You don't.
Or
Your hand
magnet.
gets smacked.
You just swing it.
No, this is dummy
Yeah.
flipper.
You're missing the point. You're so close. I was trying to get you on point.
Well, I mean, outside the fact that they picked the cheapest doorknobs, I mean, I don't know. What are you looking for?
I was gonna say, if you have a 70s build home and you have that 6-panel door, you can guarantee if all of the doors on the interior match, this was a flipped house.
Well, I mean, this is very clear. I mean, they didn't even take the blue. Do you know?
How many times have we spent?
We have spent hours at houses pulling that blue shit off of appliances. This is disrespectful to our craft.
This is disrespectful to RJ specifically because he will always rip them. He will always rip them, and then he leaves like the pieces stuck in between the pieces, and then he's always trying to like
that's just
get them out.
That's just how lazy can you be? How lazy can you be? Right there, like, bro, earn your check.
Oh man,
no one wants to move into their new house and have to pull the blue shit off of the appliance.
That was why you asked them to do it before, like when they're installed, bro. But trust me, RJ and I have spent hours of our lives.
Yeah, look, this is a garage.
Dang, yeah. They need to come do that to my garage floor. I can't wait.
All right. So one thing that we're looking for here in the backyard, is there anything that stands out about this, like a pool, extra acreage, right?
And depending on your location, guys, too, like a covered patio actually does make a difference on the market sometimes. It doesn't always. And I think that's one of the things that people get really confused at in this first layer is like for RJ and myself, like we go through these things and like we know about this stuff nationwide, right? And like we were just taking mental notes the whole time. I don't think in this location, like this is something that's going to massively impact like the market value, like what buyers are willing to pay at the end of the day when this gets flipped and put on the market. But it's just for things like you need to be aware of. Like, yes, a pool makes a difference, but sometimes like the yard in and of itself is going to make a difference, right? Like the landscaping, blah, 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 blah. Like you don't want a shitty looking backyard. If that, so you're going to have a landscaping budget, in other words.
So what this gave us right here was the initial property that we looked up. Didn't have pictures. The next one, 1904 Bay Oaks, much smaller square footage. Okay, 1874, sold for $152 a square foot. This property, 1717 Duval, higher square footage, 700 square foot, sold for $160 a square foot. So price per square foot wise, it did not significantly increase the price, but with 700 square feet, that is a big difference on price per square foot because normally the higher you get in square footage, that price per square foot continues to go down, right? Yeah. So that is the note because our subject property is 2173. Unfortunately, we are in a neighborhood here where, as you can see, we don't have any comps that are in that 21 or 2200 square foot range. So we're battling like the 1800 square foot and the 24 and 2500 price per square foot or square foot properties. So then the last thing that we have to do, okay, we've analyzed the highest, we've looked at the lowest, we see the difference in the condition of the property. Now we need to determine what is our after repair value on this property. So
what I would actually maybe do in this scenario, and it's like a really, really good like pointer, is if you go to status when you run into a situation like RJ just ran into, I might go into the status right here and click the actives to see if there's any in our square footage point that are actives near our square footage and see what they are looking like. Just as like
this one right here. This is 130 square foot, smaller than ours, and it's active.
Not remodeled. So this is more like probably what like that.
This is similar to this one, 1904. So this is 285 active And then the one that sold was 285. So it's the same price. So,
okay, and are they the same price per square foot?
No. So we have 1904 was 152, and then Madeira is 140.
Right.
So it's 140.
Right. So you're looking for like that consistent thing as well in the data, like in the price per square foot is kind of why I'm pointing that out. And sometimes those actives will help you. Like you're showing that if it's 1,800, you're having consistent, price points. If it's 2,000 or 2,200, you're having consistent price points. Even if you don't have that flipped property that you're looking for, you're looking to make sure that in your neighborhood, in the market, the subject property that you're looking for, the price points are consistent data. And so what I always usually summarize that as, you're looking for the consistent data, those highs, those lows, right? The as is, the maybe somewhat owner occupied, DIY'd, and then the flipped, you're looking for the consistent data, whatever level you're on.
So on that note, we're on the phone with the seller. Seller is telling us their motivation, right? They've lived there since the early 80s. The husband died. The property, is too big. It needs to be sold. They just want to get, 200,000 and move on. We right here are trying to determine what we're putting as an after repair value. So where are we putting the after repair value on this property?
So just so you guys know really quickly, and even though RJ is not going to pull it up, he's going to sit there and he is going to not have to get this perfect number. He's going to have our profit calculator pulled up and he is going to say, now you'll have to have me zoom in. I'm assuming that the ARV that you're going to land on, and only just because of the way I have the live pulled up, I can't see the numbers very well. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere between 350 and 400 based on what we just discussed. But even though I can't really see the averages very well,
based off of what I saw there, this is 350,000.
350,000. Okay. So he's going to put 350 in.
Very, very simple right here. We've got all of the comps that we have selected, the price per square foot was $151. But that includes the low end. We saw that we could push 160, okay, times 2173. What would that put us at? That puts us at 347,680. So 350.
And how many properties do we have that have sold higher than that 350?
Quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 properties have sold higher.
Okay, so keep that in mind. We're not going to dive into that quite yet. But what I'm going to do is, as I'm doing all of the things that RJ just showed you guys how to do, normally what I'm doing is I put in that like low or lower number that I feel is like my safety conservative number, just like RJ kind of just did, because he's doing it naturally. Even though I think this property can potentially sell higher, I'm on the phone with the seller. I'm not digging into all these fine details. I'm putting that ARV into our rehab calculator, and I'm going to move on to layer number 2 before I go back and I spend any time fine tuning that. We had really consistent data. We haven't necessarily determined anything that makes anything super high or super low. We know we have a bigger property for the neighborhood, but it's not so much bigger that it's what we call big man on the block. I'm putting a number in. The seller's asking 200. We're just going right into layer number 2 at this point. We will tweak the numbers when we go back, when we're fine tuning them on that seller call if you're following the closer's formula. So what we're diving right into is our rehab calculator at that point. So actually, layer number 2 is determining the rehab. And so condense this down where we're not teaching you and showing you, and this is all happening in a number of minutes, okay? And so that's why you have to do it into layers. And you can see we looked for the consistent data. We actually were comping. We did pull up some pictures really fast to go boom, 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 boom. We weren't really honing in on too many details, but we are making mental notes the whole time, right? So we go into layer 2, talk about, do you have the rehab calculator pulled up? Are we showing that?
Not.
Yay or
I
nay?
did not. And here's the reason why is because we're gonna showcase that here in a second. And also
hopefully somebody wins and they get a copy.
Right. I also don't want people to have a crutch on this because honestly, there's not much to it. I mean, it's price per square foot.
Well, yes and no. I will say this. I used to not like showcase the rehab calculator but y'all have to also understand, I built the rehab calculator exactly how RJ and I calculate this. So this is literally from the math in our minds. And like, we've done it for like this for forever and ever. Amen. And like a lot of people will just only give you a price per square foot, but RJ and I, as like, we inherently, just so you guys know, categorize it because we know how to write rehab estimates in our mind from our experience as contractors and from our experience as house flippers. So realistically speaking, we pay attention to like cosmetics and like the level of cosmetics, and we built out a calculator for it. And then we add anything on the major systems like on top of it. And basically that's exactly what our rehab calculator is. So talk about what you think the rehab budget is and how you broke that down in your brain.
Yeah. So in this scenario, the reason why I want to look at the two lowest, really the one, but we ended up looking at two because we didn't get interior pictures on the other property, is I want to see what that condition is. And so what did we see in that condition? We saw popcorn ceilings, older flooring, older kitchen, older bathroom, older fixtures, right? What a lot of us would consider a cosmetic update, right? That's what that property needed. That property sold for $285, right? The other one that is active, very similar condition, even though there's differences, right? Maybe some of that property looked a little bit nicer, but in a rehabber's mind, it's irrelevant. It's still the same. It's like I'm still changing out those light fixtures. I'm still changing out the hardware, right? So that's what I'm trying to determine on the phone with the seller if their property is in that condition right there. And so in the scenario that we're using here, right, it's the house is big, it's been lived in for like 40 years. They're going to tell you all the things that they've done. It's got a new roof on it. I remodeled one of the bathrooms. It's amazing. It's everything that I ever wanted. I've replaced the floors 5 times since I've lived here. Okay, well, how long ago did you replace the floors? 12 years ago. Okay, well, then I don't care how many times you've done it, ma'am. They got to go. For me, I'm just determining what it is that we're looking at. And then we're trying to find out if there's anything that is going to be like an astronomically large rehab need that is outside of those cosmetic updates, right? The seller's already told us it needs updates with the price alone, $200,000. So, what we're looking for is like those, to put it into a category. Is this a low rehab, a mid rehab, a high rehab, or a full gut? It's not a full gut and it's not a low. So what we're really trying to determine right now is this a mid rehab or is this a full rehab? So, and I think this is where the majority of people are going to get stuck on. How do you determine the difference between a full and a mid rehab?
So for me, a full rehab is everything cosmetic. So a mid rehab is you're able to salvage some things that have been updated without having to spend money on them. And those are the big kickers. So for example, like if I just have to do paint and flooring, that's not even a mid rehab. Like I can calculate what that is, right? So that's kind of low rehab. If I'm having to do paint, flooring, some tiles, paint and flooring,
bathroom, kitchen
is maybe not the mid, right? Or is maybe more the mid. Like if I'm having to do the bathrooms, the kitchen, the flooring, the cabinets, like you just that's a full interior cosmetic. Don't get too stuck on that. You know what I'm saying? Like painting cabinets And it also, your comps kind of tell you that. We saw at the highest end comps, those were not original cabinets. That's the full rehab to make it look like that. They put all new appliances in. They put all new, everything was new, the new tiles, the whatever, it's a full cosmetic. And so then we're determining that to get the same number that property sold for, that's our full cosmetic rehab.
The big six that we're looking to really make sure that we're avoiding. And again, I want to be clear on this.
Yes.
You ask this with open-ended questions. You do not specifically bullet point go down this, okay? But you're listening and you're trying to determine, because if they know these things need to come out, they're going to talk about it because they're big expenses for a homeowner, okay? Foundation, roof, HVAC, hot water heater, plumbing, electrical. Those are the big six things that are going to take this to like an astronomical number, where, to Cassie's point, price per square foot, you're going to account for the cosmetics. Any of those six, you're just adding on top in like large chunks. So for example, if I'm on the phone with a seller like this, and I'm looking at what the comps look like, I mean, that remodel comp was in really decent shape. I mean, they pretty much touched everything. I mean, we've remodeled houses before. They went through and they did every light fixture, every doorknob, every hinge, everything, right?
They updated all the GFCIs.
Every switch and plug was redone, because if they weren't, they were going to be yellow as yellow could be, baby. Yellow as yesterday's thumbnail, okay? And they weren't. They were white. So it's like these things stand out to people that have flipped houses before. So that to me, that's a full rehab.
That is absolutely a full rehab. And that's absolutely, if I was going to say that's my ARV and that's what I have to use as my blueprint property, then that's exactly what I'm accounting for in rehab. Now, that doesn't mean the roof is going to have to be replaced. But understand this, we don't get into details on those unless the seller tells us in those open-ended questions, because a lot of times these sellers do, if they didn't tell you during the open-ended questions, that means that they already don't understand that when I list a property for somebody as a licensed agent in the state of Texas, just full disclaimer, or we go flip a house and then we list it, well, the end buyer is an owner occupant. They're going to get an inspection, and they're probably going to have a traditional lending, form of lending. They're going to have to qualify. And what that means is that it doesn't matter if the water heater works fine and it's 8 years old. If it's not up to code, it's popping up on that inspection, and guaranteed that buyer is requesting for those things to be adjusted and repaired, right? We're not getting into those nitty-gritty details, and we're keeping that open-ended question so we can go through and let somebody else fine-tune that rehab budget. So the calculator is built in a broad range for a reason, as is the profit calculator. You're doing this so that you have a general number that you're going to get for, the scale. And I try to say it like it's a sliding scale. You have your ARV. That ARV doesn't necessarily have to be the highest number, right? You may not have to do a full flip on this. In fact, you might make just as much money as a buyer if you update everything cosmetically and make sure those inspection things are up to code and it looks pretty and photographs well. Maybe you're just painting carpet and you throw a vanity in there. You don't have to redo all the tile, and you're still going to make just as much profit to do less work and tear up less shit and have more, less holding costs. In fact, RJ and I, it's so funny because we would rather do that kind of a flip than go because for us, if we're gonna flip a property, it's not about like building a portfolio. It's not about like whatever. We only do that shit if we're on TV. And so we actually like to make sure we have a really good, clean property in a home, and like it's ready to roll for somebody, right? So you have to determine like your ARV. If you're on the conservative side, you could maybe get away with less on that rehab calculator. So that ARV and that rehab number that you put in on that profit calculator, which hopefully you're following because it's built very.
I'm about to show the profit calculator. When you finally throw out a rehab number, I'm waiting for you to stop talking.
Oh yeah, how many square feet is this? 2,200.
2173.
2,200. So we're none of the big six that we're aware of.
Nope, none of the big six. Just full cosmetic.
My apologies, darling. I didn't even know you were waiting on me. Hey, did you hear that Texan in me come out?
Are you opening your rehab calculator right now?
Well, I don't want to tell him. I don't want to tell him.
I've got the rehab cal. You want me to give you the number?
Nah, dog. I thought that's why I thought you were doing it.
I do have it. I want to see what number
I was going to say I would include for a 350,
$350,000 ARV.
And this seller's done some of the stuff, she says.
This seller tells you they updated a bathroom 12 years ago.
Of their dreams.
And they put some new flooring in there, and they replaced the roof, and they have a home warranty on their AC, so that's good. And they put a new hot water heater in 8 years ago. It's still fantastic.
I'm going with a $50,000 number on layer 2.
Okay. So
that's tweakable later.
So I agree. And here's the reason why. This is why I hate scripts. I hate calculators. I hate all this shit, because if you just punch in square foot on a full rehab, on our rehab calculator, our own one, the one that it says $75,000.
Yeah.
But looking at the properties that have sold at the highest of high, that is the cheapest doorknob, that is the cheapest fan, that cheapest granite, cheapest cabinet, cheapest door.
Well, let me interrupt you for a second here. We're also putting a $350,000 ARV. We're not putting the highest the four higher than that. So if we really wanted to go all out and maybe do a little bit more on that rehab, we're sitting at a good conservative number. We can get a $350,000 by putting $50,000 into this house. If we up that ARV, we can, somebody could go in here and put 60 grand into it, 65, 70 grand into it.
Thank you. Here's what I want to point out to this. Our job as a wholesaler is not to determine what the end buyer is going to do with the property. Okay. Yep. Our job is to provide them the opportunity to have multiple exit strategies to determine what they want to do. I saw someone said right here, are you underwriting for cash seller finance and novation today? No, I am underwriting the property. Okay. That is what I am doing. My end buyer
on that topic, I will get sideswiped.
We'll get lost for days. Okay.
Yep.
Here's what's happening. Okay. Our seller told us 200,000. Okay. We know that if you fix this property up, you can get 350, and you could easily do that with $50,000. And if that's the case, we could have a $10,000 assignment fee on there and sell it to them for $210,000, and they could make $48,000 profit for doing $50,000 worth of work. Okay.
That's a freaking win all day today. We're asking.
Hold on.
Hey,
hold on.
What's your email?
Now, we have 2 properties in the neighborhood that sold for $285,000, probably in the same condition as this one. This is why you don't need to determine what your end buyer does, because this person could do nothing, sell it for $285,000, and make $41,000.
Well, realistically, if they were to do that, they're probably spending 10 grand on repairs. But but to your point, you could literally wholesale this, you could literally do that, or you could go all out. Any experienced flipper ain't going all out on this property according to that profit calculator. And I really am going to say something about the seller finance novation, blah, blah, blah bullshit question. I want everybody to understand right now, those things, those creatives, they save you money on financing, their financing strategies. Those are not how you comp or underwrite a property. And they have nothing to do with how you comp and underwrite a property until you get to one part of it, right? So the way that we teach to comp and underwrite is absolutely based on the exit strategy. It is not based on the financing strategy. So I want everybody to understand that, not that because frankly, that's the way buyers have to look at it. And that's why we teach it this way. It is not that I have anything. RJ, can we count how many sub 2s we've done? No. We could probably count how many novations we've done, because realistically, we've historically just closed on them, and if we want to wholesale, just saying, it like those things save you money on financing. And I just want everybody to understand that, like, we're not naysaying creatives. Seller finance is a little bit different, but it always is going to come back to our exit strategy as the investor. And it's always going to come back to the numbers as the investor, not just the number it costs us to finance it, but what are we going to do in order to make money? Why is this an investment? So that's why we teach comping and underwriting that way. Because a lot of people do ask that question. So I'm definitely not getting onto your butt about asking the question, but I'm explaining myself, like, why we teach this. We focus absolutely on the investment strategy, the exit strategy, if you will, not the financing options that our buyers are going to have. We're not trying to narrow our buyers pool down to people who understand creatives if we're going to be wholesaling a deal. Right? So we're not going to teach people out of the gates that are, really learning how to comp and underwrite for the exits about that, because we use the same calculators. We just change a couple of things,
All right. Let's get back to this example. Okay. So there's 3 layers. We've broken this down into 3 layers for comping and underwriting. Okay. Layer number 1, comp the property to determine what the ARV is, the after repair value. We did that, $350. Layer number 2, determine the rehab that's needed to achieve ARV. We have done that. Layer number 3, we already kind of came up with that to a certain degree, but it's determine the price that we need to be at. So what's funny about determining the price that we need to be at is because what we're looking at here is what is the price that our end buyer needs to be at, and then making sure that there is margin there for us as the wholesaler. And so, as you see, I broke down this example 2 different ways, where we have as-is comps at 285 that if we did, to Cassie's point, say this, they did $10,000 in repairs, they could make $31,000. Okay. The other thing that would potentially happen here, because they're doing a wholesale, is your holding costs could potentially be lower as well. So they could potentially make somewhere closer to like $35,000 because they're not going to hold on to it for very long. Right. But just be conservative. They can make $31,000. Now, in the more common way to underwrite this would be $350,000, $50,000 in repairs. They do $50,000 worth of work to make $48,000 in profit. Now, the thing that Cassie and I are always harping on is that you want to take care of your end buyers, and you also want to put yourself in the shoes of the buyers. And so a lot of times people want to get hung up on this number, the profit percentage. Every time we talk about this, everybody wants to ask.
Let me just chime in, because this is the other thing. It's like people are asking, do you adjust rehab for different markets? I thought the exit strategy was always wholesaling. Exit strategies are always going to be flip or buy and hold. Okay. Those are the exit strategies we're looking for. And those are the ones we run our numbers based on.
Our exit strategy is wholesaling.
To that point, well, we're running the numbers and underwriting it. Right?
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Yes. Our exit strategy is wholesaling, but we don't run numbers based off of our exit strategy. We have to do it. You have to start thinking about your end buyers. That's your customer.
Correct. And that's why this is important. The profit percentage is not the number. Like, some buyers will use that language, and I'm not going to lie and say they won't. But what you are looking for as a buyer, and I always summarize it to this, is the juice worth the squeeze? And how do you determine if the juice is worth the squeeze? And I'm going to say this to y'all. And if I see any of you ever ask this question again, and you were on this live and you didn't listen to me, I'm going to shake you a little. Okay. Literally, is the juice worth the squeeze? It has nothing to do with the profit percentage. It has everything to do with that rehab amount and your potential profit amount. Okay. For me, as a fix and flip investor, if I am flipping a property that I'm going to put $50,000 into, I like to try to get that dollar for dollar or close to dollar for dollar. Now, if I'm wholesaling, this is my wholesale team. My wholesale team is probably going to put $13,000 to $15,000 on the wholesale fee here. Get somewhere around that $45,000, like maybe $43,000 to $45,000 range. Why do we do that, and why do we run our numbers that way? And I want to tell you guys this. It is because we do not want to narrow our buyer's pool. The more you try to get squeezed out of this, the less juice the buyer is going to get out of the squeeze. I see properties like this come across my desk every single day where I get this property written up and somebody sends it to me and it's got a potential for $18,000 in profit, but they're like, but, and I'm like, listen, ain't nobody freaking buying a house, putting 60 grand into it or 50 grand or 40 grand or even 35 grand in it to try to make $18,000. Why would anybody flip a whole ass house with all the variables that play in? When you're comping and underwriting in this scenario, what you need to do is you need to make sure that there is enough potential profit there so that if something goes wrong, what if their dog dies and they don't want to work for a month? Like let them make money. You want house flippers to be able to make money because it keeps you in business if you're just wholesaling, right? And you want them to come back for more, but also you don't want to narrow your buyer's pool. Like people got very spoiled in major markets during the years that everybody was buying things well over what they should have. And they were using that stupid MAO style calculator. Like you don't want to be that person where you're comping and underwriting. And like, that's why we teach things this way. You actually do need to start thinking about where end buyers will buy. And also in a sense that focusing on their potential profit so that when you are going to put this in front of your end buyers, you can speak eloquently on their ability to profit and how and why. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to have this perfect number on these categories. And that is the entire point of how we teach comping and underwriting for Nationwide, is because you are focused on those 3 layers. That is this calculator.
So, all right, I want to answer some of the questions here because we have some good ones coming in.
Yeah.
Let me answer this one. So, keeping a good percent of ARV for the buyer is pretty straightforward. What gets me sometimes is the inexperience of knowing when to swap to buy and hold, and when the 1% or 2% or what states are 2%. All right, one.
Not state.
Right. One, that's not a thing. Dallas, Texas, okay, has like 0.5% rental markets and 1% and 2% and 3% rental markets. Okay. Second, underwrite all of your deals as flips unless they're tenant occupied, and then you still run it as a flip, and then you need to make sure the cash flow is there. Our job as a wholesaler is to provide equity and cash flow. Okay. Cash flow only if that's an option. So really your job is to always just provide equity. If you're always providing equity, then normally the cash flow will fall in line. Now, Alan, the reason why I picked this out is because one of the things I've determined is that this industry loves to run the numbers on rentals because they have decided that if we cannot get a good deal, we could call it a good rental because rentals don't need equity. So the deals that we can't get at a certain discount on the equity side, we could then say it's a good rental, even though we don't understand how to run numbers on a cash flow perspective. So if you just simplify things down, which is what I always love to do. I always love to just try to simplify things. Okay. Run it as a flip. If you provide enough equity there, then you're going to have buyers. Okay. If it's tenant occupied, you're still starting off here. You have to provide them equity. That is our job. Otherwise, it's not wholesale, it's retail. Right? By nature, we are a wholesaler, which means we have to get it under a discount or we're not doing our job. Okay?
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons, like in university, like I will say, you guys, like we definitely go further into Some of that, those topics, our stuff is a little bit more robust than what we can cover on our free lives. Sometimes we do try to fit in a lot and give it away. But yeah, it is usually determined also in the comps. And that's just understanding like how to comp like rentals as well, which a lot of people
these are the
don't do.
numbers that we came up with here on this deal, right? 350 ARV, 50,000 in repairs, contract to seller, seller's asking 200. Okay. We put in 15,000. I'm on the phone with the seller. I said, it sounds like something I might be interested in. That being said, if I were to come in with cash, I cover all the closing costs, there's no realtor commissions. What's the best price that you could do for me? Today, cash, you can close as quick as possible. Yes, I can do 190. Okay. That's how these calls go every day of the week. Okay.
Literally.
And this is how people go, RJ, you're just an order taker. Well, why wouldn't I be an order taker? I'm going to go make my 15,000.
Well, we've created a formula and tools to allow us to just take orders.
Right. And here's the other thing. I don't care if this 50,000 is accurate or not. Okay. My end buyer is going to determine what they want to do here. They could put 0, sell it for 285. They could put 30 and sell it for 315. They could put 50 and sell it for 350. They could try to put 75 and try to sell it for 375, whatever they want to do. Now, here's one thing I want you guys to always like. For those of you that say I suck at comping, one thing, okay? Vast majority of you don't suck at comping. You suck at underwriting.
That's
Get your
right.
language right, okay? Now, let's say you do suck at comping, all right? This is what we see all day, every day in our JV email box. This property that we just comped and underwrote, okay? We see, all right, I did 375, and then, they could get this done for
42,000.
She said she did the floors and she did it. We could do that.
Yeah. Actually,
and then the seller told me 200.
And
so
I really
I didn't even try to do that. And then, well, I'm JVing with Titanium, and I've got rent and the car payment, and
I really want to make at least 15 grand myself.
Well, hold on, we got rent, and we've got the car payment, and then Joe Biden's president, so groceries are a lot. Okay, so I want to make
a lot right now.
I want to make 40,000. And that's I would like for you to market this at 240. And we get it, and they send this to us. And
they think that this is a great deal.
Off initial glance, we go, wow, that's great. And then we come in and we go, well, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. And all this gets changed, and everyone gets their feelings hurt. That's what we deal with on a daily basis. This is why we said we have to come up with something that can change this, because like it's insane. It's insane how many deals that we see that it's just, I mean, it's literally like when you're cooking spaghetti and like you just forgot to set a timer and you didn't know, and you're just like, let's just take it out, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. If it does, then we're good. If it's not, then fuck it. Fuck the widow in her scenario. I don't give a shit. Terminate. Next. It's the problem. It is the problem in our industry, and it is a
plague in our industry, guys. Like, it's a plague. And this is not that hard to do. This is not that hard to learn. Like, if you're going to learn how to do that much, why are you not going to learn how to like you have to continue your education, you guys. Like, trust me, like we were taught, and somebody even asked, even after we've said it, so they must not have been here the whole thing. I encourage you to rewind, like re-watch this whole thing. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys, well, they ask these questions. Well, what percent of the ARV are you calculating this at?
Yep.
So that calculator shows you why we don't calculate it that way. And look, guys, I get it. We were taught to do the same thing. And it wasn't until like we bought all these properties and we were doing all this stuff, or we're learning and we're going like we didn't start out nationwide. We started going into these other markets and other types of markets. And then the next thing you know, we're nationwide and we're in all kinds of markets, right? And like, you just have to understand, like, it all comes back to the comps. It does all come back to the numbers, but most people are just underwriting wrong as well, even when they do understand, like, how.
I'll be honest with you, to me, it feels like underwriting is the biggest problem in here, because I don't think people understand what constitutes a deal and what is not a deal. It's the same problem with creative finance. I mean, it's like, what is your reason for wanting to get this sub 2? What is your reason for wanting to get this seller finance? If you cannot explain it to me outside of the fact that, well, I got it sub 2, or it's I got it on terms that makes it a deal, then it's not a deal. If you can't tell me what I could do with it,
right,
then it's a problem. So listen.
So this is why we teach it that way, B, and that's why I'm trying to teach you, is that we don't run it as a percentage of the ARV, because that's actually doesn't tell. That's not how your buyers run the numbers, right? They run it the way we run it, like, and we just condensed it down. Like, look, y'all have to also understand, like, I've built out numerous extremely complicated calculators over the year. And actually, the initial reason I built the profit calculator was to train our team how to one-call close on acquisitions. But we use it on disposition. We use it for everything now. And I mean, we've had it for years and years and years and years. I have way more complex calculators. In fact, we do have like one that's a little bit different and a little bit more robust, with the rental one right next to it. But for people in university, only just because make it a little bit faster for them. But like, we're not going to sit here and teach you, like, we're trying to teach you that, like, if you can get to that part, well, then you're going to start underwriting properties, right? You're going to see more of your deals cross the finish line, period. Because you're going to be looking at it and underwriting it from a perspective, as long as you know how to comp. If you're going to be comping and underwriting it from a perspective of an investment, aka your buyer, where end buyers buy, that's why this is what this is called, is how you ensure that. So we don't calculate it based off a percentage of the ARV, because none of your buyers look at a deal and say, I mean, we get buyers all of the time and they're fake buyers. I usually buy 80% of the ARV. No, you don't. You have to put that through a process, right? And it's not the answer, and it's not the answer for you if you're learning how to do this. So it's never
80% of ARV. Let's reverse engineer that, and you show me how you're making money.
Yeah,
it ain't 2019 anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So
Spaghetti.
That being said, we are here to eliminate excuses, and we have a gift that we want to give you guys. And we want to sit here and we want to relish in all of y'all's ceremonial responses and comments for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Was that a good intro to it? What did you think?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
I was reading comments, so I only listened to part of it.
So, titaniumu.com/web is bam. This. Oh my goodness. This is 24 pages of the web formula. There are no pictures of RJ. There's a little
there
bit.
You are.
There's a lot of pictures of Cassie because this is hers.
Well,
Everything
it's ours just like
today.
everything is, but you get a lot more pictures than I do usually, so I got spoiled on this one.
This right here was Cassie taking pictures for TV, and they were like, look cute, but kind of badass. That's her kind of cute, kind of badass face.
No, this was like, I don't know what to do with my hands face.
24 pages. This is a book. This is legitimately a book on comping and underwriting. Okay. Just, I mean, if it's something we said today went like in one ear and out the other, I mean, there it is. Okay.
So you can have the audible version, which you just heard. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting emotional just because like this is like a big deal for us to be able to give to you guys. Like, and I know that whatever. Y'all probably just think like we come out here like we really say that we're trying to make a difference in the industry, and like RJ will sit there and harp on it, and like we can be really hardcore people and like we're intense, we're passionate, and but like dude, we really do mean it. Like this is a big deal for us. Yeah, I was tearing up. Like that's a big deal, dude. Like that's a big deal. Like this is a big deal. Like for us to be putting out, like I felt this way when we were driving to San Antonio and you were like, what should I call this? I'm like, this is your formula. Like this is where the formula started. Like I think back on that and I think of what a pivotal moment just some of these conversations for us are, and like these light bulbs that go off, and like they're all working towards this goal that we have to forge a new way through this industry. And you know, like look, we love what we do, you guys, and we really like it's a big deal for us to be able to give this to you. Like it's a big deal to do the closers formula publicly. It's a big damn deal to do titanium profits. It's a big damn deal to do the comp formula. It's a big deal to do the web, the dispo formula. Like all this stuff is like things that we feel like not enough people are talking about, and they're definitely not putting it out there in the way that really can make the difference for you. So like this is a novel. You're right. Like they just got the audible version and like a little bit of a visual, but like, dude, it's a whole different thing when you can get this PDF. Like, so don't sleep on getting this for free, all, and like get in there and study it and understand what it means, because it also is a little emotional for me because it's straight out of my brain. Like, whereas that's why all my pictures are on this one. This really is in my words and out of my brain. And, you know, my partners have really, you know, always really wanted me to talk more about it and have more of these products out. And like, I don't know what I'd do without their support. And I have the best business partners in the whole freaking world. And I always said that about RJ, but I somehow landed 2 more. So I'm just doing something right in this life. But, I mean, me and RJ are definitely doing something right to get Nick and Sema with us. So, at the end of the day, you guys, like, this is a big damn deal. Like, if you are really trying to learn, if you're really trying to do this, I don't even give a shit if you actually already know how to do this successfully and you do 10 deals a year or 20 deals a year or 10 deals a month or 20 deals a month. I can promise you is nobody has taught you how to do it quickly and efficiently like this. Nobody has broken it down like this. Nobody has extracted this information and put it out there, even when they're getting paid for it. And it's a big deal to me that we're giving this away for free. It's a big damn deal to me that we've worked our way here and we're forging this path through our industry, and that like we're giving this to y'all. So do not sleep on it. Like I don't even know how many people are on here, but you better download the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is such a cool moment because we started with the King Closers formula, which was so easy to do because it's the thing that everybody wanted to learn, right? Everyone wants to be like, RJ, teach me how to close like you. I want to learn this. And then it was like we had comp training, but it was always like, this is how you do it. And you've got to click here and do this and look at this. And it was never written, like we had guardrails, I think is what we called it one time. We had the comp rules. We had even when we started this, we started with calling it the comp formula. And then when
that's my point. Like I can't even believe, like, also for me as somebody who has taught this for a bajillion times, like this is so beautiful to me in a formula, in a beautiful box with a pretty little bow. Like it makes me emotional.
Real quick, let me explain why Cassie is emotional about this, because one thing that you guys have to understand is that a lot of what you've seen from Titanium over the past 8 months is RJ and Cassie, what we've always had to give, but with combining our powers with Nick and Sema, and then at times them really pushing us out of our comfort zone and saying, how can we extract what is in Cassie's brain and put it into digestible form for everyone, because just the fact that Cassie is good at comping and underwriting does not necessarily mean that Cassie is great at explaining how to comp and underwrite or teaching it. And I'm not saying she's not good at that, but at times, just because one person can learn from it doesn't mean the next personality can, right? And
well,
for
I mean,
example,
just to be honest, it's like the most complicated part of everything that we do. It's hard to teach it. And so, like, a lot of times it takes a very long time for some people.
Yeah.
And like, for it to be broken down and extracted and simplified into a formula is something that's been like a really long time dream of mine. But it's just so hard to do.
I want you guys to understand something. The amount of work that was put in to creating this is not something that was thought about like a couple of weeks ago. There have literally been like secret phone calls between RJ, Nick, and Sema, where we're like, how can we subconsciously trick Cassie into doing a meeting with us where we try to pull a piece of the comp training out of her. And like I said, the monumental move that we made was when we hopped on a Zoom call together and I comped this property, 1801 Morrison. I said, let's just pick one. In case you guys didn't know, that's my childhood home. That's where I grew up. I said, I'm going to pick my house that I grew up with. I know the area, and I know it's complex to the degree of the year built, the size. So it's not cookie cutter, but at least you could come up with an ARV, right? So we could use this as an example. So I used that one, and we went through it together. And watching Cassie kind of sit there and watch me click the buttons and go through with what I do. And she said it today. She's like, I do some of it a little bit different.
That's okay.
But some of it is just the way her brain naturally works, which is why we give this in video form to you. At Titanium University, we give it in course content. We give it in implementation calls. And then today we finally have given it in written form. And why that's a big deal for us is because that's not mine and Cassie's strong suit. It's not mine and Cassie's strong suit to sit down and to put something like this in the words because we love doing it this way. We are action takers. We are doers.
We want to show you what we do like live. And I will also say this, like, I think it's just also like such a big deal. Like, we put a lot of, like, RJ and myself have put a lot of work into a lot of different things. There's several things he's put more work into, and there's several things I've put more work into, but I'm here to live and die on this hill. And that is that the closers formula is nothing without the comp formula. So, like, and most people don't want to accept that. The closers formula doesn't exist without this. At one point in time, I didn't know how to comp at all, and RJ did. I want y'all to hear that. Like, I want y'all to hear that. I was still working when we originally started on our origin story. Like, I was still working on our contracting business. I know how to comp, period. Like, you know, like, we've been all over the map and back. We've been, you know, to the top of the mountain together and the very low valleys together and everywhere in between. And everything is always us. And I get just as emotional when I see something RJ's put so much work into. I'm gonna let y'all know though, with this one, it's got an extra. It's got an extra to me, and that's because straight up, the fact that my partners extracted this and literally wrote the copy and literally, like, secret squirrel tricked me left and right for forever. So that this could be pulled out of my brain. And like, I knew, and like, I've written a lot of the formula, but like, it's kind of like my version of it was condensing it down on like that layer 1, 2, 3. My version of that was to build the profit calculator, but they added the language for me. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to understand, like, this is all interlinked with every other formula that we have, but this one was a big one because, frankly, I spent a lot of years training on a lot of people how to comp and underwrite. And it is the hardest part of what we do. I can teach every single bit. RJ can teach every single bit of what we do. And the hardest thing is, and will always be this, for us to be able to create this together. Like, it's an honor. It's a privilege that we get to do this. And I know that, like, people who get it and apply it, it's going to change your career. It's going to change your financial situation. It's going to change your life. It's a big damn deal. It's a big damn deal. It's not just some bullshit we put together on a PDF and slapped out there to start some marketing, branding, funnel crap. It's the real damn thing, y'all.
Dude, a good example of this is like, I don't even know sometimes what we're really like doing, because I mean, it's like
we're teaching a lot. We're teaching? Like,
no, baby, I know people are going to get results. That's the expectation. Okay.
Yeah.
This is like, we're very much like the New England Patriots. Okay. Which is my favorite team, the dynasty New England Patriots, not the bullshit we just went through.
I was like, not anymore. Hold on.
It's like Belichick and Brady. Okay.
Belichick
it's like
and Brady.
when we win, we're just like, that was the expectation. We yes.
We are bad about that.
But there's times where something will slap you across the face. Last night was one of those. I got a message last night from someone inside of Titanium University that said, "Hey, I wanted to reach out to you and let you know these were my expectations when I came into Titanium University. I wanted to go nationwide, and I was hoping to get deals that I could get $5,000 to $10,000 assignment fees. Now, after going through Titanium University, really dialing in the closers formula and underwriting and the web formula, right? We're averaging $45,000 to $50,000 assignment fees, and we have over $500,000 in the pipeline set to close in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean,
legitimately, I got emotional then. I get emotional now. And it's like, yeah, RJ and I, we know our stuff. We know what we're doing. We're doing this with intentionality. Thank you, Jesus, for Nick and Sema, because they just add fuel to that fire, and it's the best thing ever. There's Nick. There's my brother right there. I don't know a lot. Like, part of me like knows how hard we've worked for this and gives us so much credit. Part of me is like, I still don't even understand how the heck we landed the best partners in the world. All of us have the best partners in the world for what we do. We are literally like that perfect combination. And we waited a lot of years and worked really hard to be able to do what we're doing right now. And I mean, then there's this other part of me that's just like, I'm always like, RJ and I said something when we first started doing this, like, no matter what, like, we knew somehow that when we were broke as a damn joke, like $10 in the bank account asses, both of us literally, like, I will never forget this moment until the day that I die or beyond. I don't know if we get to keep all our memories, but RJ and I looked at each other and we made ourselves a promise that we would not change who we are no matter how much money we had, because we knew we were going to be in a position one day to be financially free, and that I wanted us to follow who we are and never forget who we were and never let anything change us. If I knew something big was coming, you know, whether that was fame or fortune, we just we don't let anything change who we are. Being business owners even change who we are, right? We're going to run our business the way that we are fulfilled. And look, like this is, I feel like this is just the beginning for us. Like, we're finding that place. We've been through so much to get to where we can do stuff like this. And like, what we're doing is what we've always wanted to do. For us to be able to put crap like this out there, for us to get the message back like that, I cannot tell you how humbled that makes me, how proud that makes me, how it just fires me up. Like when I see other people winning, because we have found a way to put this out there, because we have found a way to teach this, because we have found a way to have the best partners in the business, because we have found a way to put every hardship, to climb back up, to fight, to like, we have done this. And like to see stuff like this coming out, to see people having those kinds of results, you don't even understand what that means to me.
Well,
that is
right
literally,
here, this comment, y'all don't even know I've been watching every major wholesale channel to find this info. So again, I am always one to give credit where credit is due. They don't want to be in the spotlight because it's not their role, but I'm going to give them the spotlight when it's rightfully theirs. Me and Cassie have always had this content in these formulas in our heads. What made it a formula is we were missing part of the formula. And
we were missing part
so
of
a lot
our
of those
formula.
people down there, those are our good friends, right? Quite frankly, I feel like we are in a position to provide more to the industry than the vast majority of people now because of Nick and Sema, because they look at things differently. They are pushing us to think about how can we provide more value than anyone else? How can we make sure if there's still an excuse that exists in this industry, how can we eliminate that? And we're focused on that more so than how can we sell the next product? And because of that, every time we have a product that we go to sell, it sells out. That is what we are going to do here at Titanium. And we know that if we continue to find ways where, hey, comping and underwriting, that is a problem inside of our industry. Let's solve it. Let's be the ones that take the time to solve this. How do we do that? Well, Cassie and RJ are not going to sit down and write a 24-page document, okay? But Cassie and RJ could do this and can talk for 3, 4, 5 hours and let people that can write that document listen to us. And then we look at it and we make tweaks, and then we do it again, and then we make tweaks, and then we do it again. I mean, dude, to be honest with you, this document that we just gave you guys for free, in case you didn't know, titaniumu.com/web, that this has been worked on since November. Okay. And I mean that. You go back, you see there's a live that Cassie did, how to comp a property in 4 minutes or less. That was in November. Okay. She did that. We were already working on this. That was the beginning stages. But then it was like, how do we really take it to another level? Then you see another one. She did the web. Where do the end buyers buy? That was another live that she did. Then it was, okay, we had always separated comping and underwriting. And now it's like, no, they need to be combined. There needs to be something. This is all inclusive. And so that's how we ended up on the web formula. I mean,
there's just so many things that lead up to this that we could talk about. And like I said, if I had to summarize it, I'm so proud of what we've done to get here. I'm so proud of, like being able to be in a position to do this. I'm so grateful for my partners. I'm so grateful for my team. I don't want to leave them out. I'm not just talking about the 4 of us. I'm talking about our wholesaling team, our business. We're constantly going to continue doing this, guys. So you need to not just stay tuned. You need to not just try to win the titanium profits. You need to not just try to eventually get into university. If you ain't ready, you ain't ready, but get there because we've got so much to give. And
I'm going to throw this out there real quick. There's 140 people watching right now, and only 70 of y'all have downloaded this. So I'm mad at half of you, okay? It's kind of like during the election. When I see half of you voted for Biden, I'm mad at half of you. Okay? Today, I'm mad at half of you for not downloading this document. Like, click the link and download it.
Don't be that anti-Biden. Like, you're allowed to vote for Biden. I'd love to understand why you would do that, but we're going to be mad at you, but I don't necessarily.
Probably buy the sub-twos with no equity and negative cash flow, too.
I don't think that everybody voted for Biden that voted for Biden anyways, so.
I guarantee you, if you vote for Biden and you're a real estate investor, you're buying sub-twos with negative equity and negative cash flow.
Please mark down the time in this video.
And say it's good for your taxes that you have to pay because you voted for Biden.
Okay, RJ, calm down. It's scrolling along the bottom of Rich, titaniumu.com/web.
There was a question on here I wanted to answer. Oh, well, first of all, we're giving away a titanium profits.
Yeah, to the best comment.
Yeah, but we can't do one. We have to do two because I want to pick one. I want you to pick out yours.
Okay.
So you pick out the one that you want. I'm going to pick out mine. Someone asked about, Victor, do we have a contract we could use for Texas? The contracts that we give away are part of Cassie's Titanium Profits course. That's the only way you can get our contracts is through that course or be a part of
your university.
Right. If you're interested in that course, there's a link on this PDF that you got today, as well as in the show description. Let's see other comments that I wanted to go over. How much money and leads does it take to fill a 500K in the pipeline? I don't know. The last time I talked to him, though, he was all PPL. But it wasn't an astronomical amount. I don't want to throw out a number because it's been a couple of weeks, maybe even closer to a month.
I have an idea anyways, because I want to dissect a little bit about what he's doing. And stay tuned, Joshua. Make sure you hit that follow there on the YouTubes. And we're
definitely gonna have him on the YouTube channel soon.
We're gonna pull him on for you guys. We're very excited, and we've decided hopefully we can start a series of different levels of Titanium University members, their different levels of business. Because we're not all the same and we all have our voice, and we want to give them a chance to say what they were doing and what they're doing now, and what the difference has made for them. You know what I mean? Because not everybody in Titanium University, guys, understand, I want to do this. We want to do this because, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking they're going to come out of the gates and run their business exactly like we run ours. And our numbers are not going to be the same as yours. We're going to spend more money on leads and not care.
Real quick, I want to make sure everyone understands that was not a shot at sub 2. That was not a shot at sub 2 pace. That was a shot at people that just do bad things with sub 2, the strategy, not the course. Right?
Yeah.
I have nothing but love for Pace and what he teaches. Do I agree with everything? No, I'm sure he doesn't agree with me either on everything. We run two different types of businesses, but that's not a shot at him at all.
No.
Let's see. Okay, you focus and go find your person to win.
Okay. I'm going to look through the comments. So far, I have one, but I haven't read all the comments. Y'all are not trying very hard to win.
This is my winner, Carlos. So, here's the thing. Carlos has been binge watching my content, and he's been commenting on each individual one. And I love the fact that not only is he binge watching it, but he's taking action. I've heard about deals that he's been getting. Carlos, did you already have Titanium Profits? Let's see if he responds. Dude, Carlos has been. I think it's been in the past week and a half. No, he does not have it. So, Carlos, you win Titanium Profits. Love that. I'm going to give this email right here. Send an email. We'll give you access today. Send the email from the one that you want us to use. But it's RJ Bates III at titanium.investments. Natalie says we need a Titanium University Netflix documentary, please.
I cannot wait until RJ and I film a documentary. I think that's why we were meant to be on TV at one point. I think eventually we're going to be filming a documentary. I'm not even joking. Like straight up, Natalie, dead
I
ass.
miss doing TV from that side.
That's why I feel like we were
filming
supposed to
TV.
learn how to do that and discover that we were actually amazing at it. Is because I feel like we're supposed to film a documentary someday.
Well, here's the thing. Let me talk.
We're too raw.
And you find someone.
I already did. I'm just looking for their name.
You found them, but you don't know what their
You
name
do enough
is?
talking, sir. Just kidding. Keep talking. I'll find his name. I'm scrolling.
If you don't find someone, I'm gonna find someone else.
Cassienomics. Cassienomics was my favorite one.
Cassienomics, I like that. All right. There, I will say another thing that's going on right now at Titanium and just Titanium Investments and Education University, whatever you want to call it. I need an assistant. Cassie got her assistant. So
I hired somebody yesterday, you guys, so we can do even more of this.
Yes. Cassie hired her assistant yesterday. I need mine.
Fort Worth, Texas, baby.
Y'all
send them referrals.
Texas, okay? You have to be insane. You have to be willing to deal directly with me. All right. You're gonna deal with social media, and you're gonna deal with whatever I want you to deal with. So if that means you're gonna make sure I eat, and you're gonna make sure I have energy drinks, and you're gonna make sure that sometimes my dog gets taken care of, and sometimes
you have to take her car to get the oil changed.
Yeah. I want you guys to clearly understand if you want to do this, okay? Here's what you have to do. You have to go watch the movie 2 weeks notice and completely ignore all of the romantic stuff and just the insane stuff that Hugh Grant makes Sandra Bullock do. That's what I am expecting. So if you're down to be that for me, Nick, can you drop the little linky link where they sign up?
It was Brett Ladehoff.
Brett Ladehoff. Cassie Calism. Man, we really delved into today's topic. You know that?
The difficultiness of doing
There he is.
Brett Ladehoff. You win. Do you already have titanium profits?
I don't think so. I don't think so. This is a very big reaction if he already had it.
And he has a picture of a dog as his profile picture. That's so perfect. I didn't even notice that. In case you don't know, I'm a big dog lover. I got 3.
I'm actually surprised that was not the reason why you just chose it.
I just saw the thing where he said, we follow Cassienomics around here. And it was the best comment there was some recent ones that I hadn't read yet while I was trying to find that.
How come no one wants to be my assistant on here? No one.
Maybe they don't live in Fort Worth, or maybe they're not insane. You need to be careful.
You move here. You're not insane enough. If you're not willing to move here to be my assistant,
but don't be the kind of insane, because I'm gonna let you know. At one point in time, somebody that we won't mention hired somebody to do some administrative stuff around here, and that girl was real good fit seemingly for about one day, and then out of nowhere Cassie gave her an instruction that said something to the effect of, oh, that's just not where you communicate it, so that's why it didn't trigger. Here's where you communicate it. And she turned around and walked out of mine and RJ's office and slammed the door like she was like a teenager. And, we don't want that kind of crazy. We don't want that
crazy. The good crazy.
The good crazy.
It's a very fine line.
Because we don't have a lot of tolerance for people that be slamming doors in our house and disrespecting.
It's RJ Bates III. So RJ Bates III at titanium.investments. Next Home Investors. Cassie actually did a video strictly on comping in rural areas. It is how to comp rural properties. It's on my channel.
I got you, boo. I already got you.
I mean, listen, when we say we're taking away every excuse.
We are. This is a mission.
Jamie says he's ready to move. Jamie, you definitely could not be my assistant. You don't have a beard.
Oh, shut your mouth. That's not why.
Can that get me in trouble? Is that like anti-HR? Like, could I get sued for that?
This is why we can't have people that are too crazy.
Yeah. Montavious, fill out the form. Titanium Profits is not the same as Titanium U. So Titanium Profits is a comping and underwriting course that Cassie did. It gives you the it gives you the profit calculator, it gives you the contracts, and it's how many videos? It's like 6, 7, 8 hours of.
I think it's at least 6 videos and it's like 8 hours. And it gives you access to contracts, the rehab calculator, the profit calculator. But look, guys, like that is a little bit less robust and it's more like that introductory product. That's why it's at the price point it is. It still probably has like 40 times the value in that like 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
we try to give a lot away for free as well.
Small video course of comping and underwriting. That's what it is. Titanium University. I mean, that's the lifetime membership for everything. I mean,
that's the big kahuna of them.
I mean, honestly, it's hilarious. It's hilarious that we would sell something like Titanium Profits for $99.
Oh, dude, people buying it every day though because
I know,
and it's good that they are.
But we sell that for $99, and then it's like for $5,700. That's how much we charged for last time for Titanium University. And that's lifetime membership, daily implementation calls. I mean, the implementation call just started 3 minutes ago. Like Nick's running the implementation call today. I ran it yesterday morning. We went like an hour and 45 minutes. Everybody could jump on there. Titanium University, does it include my beard maintenance routine? I can tell you.
Your beard needs maintenance right now.
It does. We've had some. We've been busy acquisitions week, but you got to have the beard scissors to get the little white strays out. Okay, you got to have. I'm a big fan of Live Bearded. Okay, this is skull beard butter. Okay, that's good. You got to have the brush at all times. Okay, the brush is very, very important. These exist everywhere I go.
Dog, don't even let him lie. We have a whole suitcase that he travels around with full of all kinds of things.
Can you put the link in the chat, Marika?
You know what? I just had a freaking idea that one of the things I'm going to have my assistant do when she starts is put together the titanium beard package so people can order all your things, like the head razor and the clippers and the trimmers and the things and the exact products that you like, and we'll put it in a titanium bag. Because you know how many people ask us like, hey dude, what do you be using?
You know what's crazy about that is
the RJ beard bag.
If we did that, look who it is. It's Marky.
Marky Mark. You know who I finally figured out Tanner reminds me of? It's Mark.
Oh my goodness.
You just put that together too? They could be brothers, right?
They could be. Tanner did say he's kind of small like Mark too.
Don't be a dick.
Oh, my bad, Mark. Good to see you, man.
Mark, our trainer has a lot of features that look just like you, is where I'm going with that.
Don't forget the affiliate link for the beard products. So
actually, we'll sell it on our website.
Funny enough, I reached out to 2 different beard companies that I really like. And I was like, hey, I do all sorts of videos. Like, would you guys sponsor me? And they responded back and they said, yes, sir. You can be an affiliate. And I was like, no. Like, I want you to actually sponsor me. And they're like, right. We don't know who you are. You could be an affiliate. You can bump our links and you can get 10%. All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not doing that. It would have been different if it was like I was wearing like
sign us up to be an affiliate.
you know.
And then when we buy them for the people that are our followers and give away the RJ beard packet, we'll get a discount.
Brett Ladoff said his beard is gray at 38, about to hit up some Just for Men. I'm starting to get gray here at 39 as well, Brett.
Embrace it.
What I would say is
Me
though
too.
I'm not the expert at that. If you really want advice on that, you can talk to Jamie. Jamie definitely can help you with the grayness.
Yeah, Jamie embraced it, and his beard's awesome when he grows it back out. You see it? I'm gonna embrace.
No one can see your grays. All right, we're done. We've lost like 30 people just shooting the shit.
We've officially gone off the wagon.
Yeah. That being said, guys, we were excited for today. We're excited to be able to get this guy to you guys. Again, free download of the Embrace the Antiqueness. The web formula, you can get it at titaniumu.com/web. It is free to download. We appreciate you guys. I don't know what we have in store for tomorrow. I guess I better go figure that out. But I can guarantee this. We will see you tomorrow.
And it'll be epic.